Hi everyone, welcome back to Zim News Updates. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share so we can continue bringing you in-depth, balanced, and thought-provoking coverage. Today, we're unpacking a major development in Zimbabwe's political landscape, the public response to Constitutional Amendment Bill No. 3, as presented by Patrick Chinamasa. But beyond just repeating the official position, we are going to add context, analysis, and critical value so you can understand what this really means for the country. According to the update, public hearings to gather citizens' views on Constitutional Amendment Bill No. 3 were conducted across all 71 administrative districts of Zimbabwe by 11 parliamentary teams. This consultation phase lasted 90 days, beginning on the 16th of February 2026 and concluding on the 2nd of April 2026. On paper, this sounds like a comprehensive democratic process, one that gives citizens a chance to shape the supreme law of the land. Public hearings, when done properly, are a cornerstone of constitutional democracy. They allow ordinary people, civil society groups, legal experts, and political actors to express their views, concerns, and recommendations. However, the real question is not just whether hearings were held, but how they were conducted, who participated, and whether diverse voices were genuinely heard. The official narrative states that these hearings went exceedingly well and that the people spoke boldly in support of the amendment. It further claims that support was overwhelming and unreserved. Now, this is where critical thinking becomes important. In any functioning democracy, especially on a matter as sensitive as constitutional amendments, it is rare, almost unheard of, to have near unanimous agreement. Constitutions are not ordinary laws. They define the balance of power, protect rights, and guide governance. Because of this, they naturally attract debate, disagreement, and scrutiny. So when we hear claims of near 100% support, it raises important questions. Were dissenting voices present and allowed to speak freely? Did people feel safe expressing opposing views? Were the hearings inclusive of all political, social, and regional perspectives? These are not accusations. They are necessary democratic questions. The statement highlights that all hearings went smoothly across the country except for one, the event held at the City Sports Center in Harare on March 31, 2026. This incident is described as being disrupted by agents provocateurs and compounded by what is called the naivety of some ruling party supporters. The claim is that certain individuals attended with the intention of provoking a reaction, disrupting proceedings, and attracting international attention. This introduces a deeper issue, the tension between majority dominance and minority rights. In any public consultation, especially one involving constitutional change, there must be room for minority opinions. Democracy is not just about the rule of the majority, it's also about the protection of minority voices. The example given, that a small minority expressing opposition in a crowd dominated by supporters is provocative, reflects a particular view of crowd behavior. While it is true that large groups can react emotionally, democratic systems are designed specifically to protect individuals who hold unpopular or minority views. If people fear expressing disagreement because of crowd reactions, then the consultation process risks becoming an echo chamber rather than a genuine dialogue. The mention of Doug Coltart is also significant. His presence at the hearing and the attempt to express an opposing view is framed as part of the disruption. But in a constitutional process, opposition voices are not just expected, they are essential. Legal practitioners, opposition politicians, and civil society actors often play a key role in highlighting potential risks, loopholes, or unintended consequences of amendments. Suppressing or discouraging such voices can weaken the legitimacy of the entire process, both domestically and internationally. Another important aspect raised is the allegation involving Luckmore Tanash Gapa, who is accused of snatching Mr. Coltart's cell phone during the incident. This is a serious matter, not just because of the individuals involved, but because of what it represents. If proven true in a court of law, it would raise concerns about political intolerance, respect for rule of law, conduct of party officials during public processes. The statement correctly notes that the matter has reportedly been taken to the Zimbabwe Republic Police. This is an important step, because in a constitutional democracy, disputes and allegations must be resolved through legal institutions, not through political rhetoric or public confrontation. It is also stated that if the allegations are proven true, disciplinary action would follow within ZANU-PF structures under the leadership of Opa Muchinguri Kashiri. This highlights another key point: institutional accountability. For any political party, especially one in power, maintaining internal discipline and upholding ethical standards is critical. Public confidence in governance depends not only on laws and policies, but also on the behavior of those entrusted with authority. Let's step back and look at the bigger picture. Constitutional Amendment Bill No. 3 is not just a political document, it's about the future of governance in Zimbabwe. Amendments can affect separation of powers, judicial independence, electoral processes, citizens' rights and freedoms. Because of this, the process must not only be lawful, it must be seen to be legitimate, inclusive, and transparent. Even if a majority supports the amendment, the credibility of that support depends on whether people had access to full information, public debate was open and fair, opposing views were tolerated. The reference to behavioral science and even biblical examples, such as crowd dynamics during the time of Jesus, is interesting, but it also underscores a deeper concern. Yes, crowds can be emotional and unpredictable, but that's exactly why democratic systems rely on rules, procedures, and protections to ensure that emotion does not override justice and that power does not silence dissent. So what should Zimbabweans take from all this? First, participation matters. Whether one supports or opposes the amendment, engaging in national processes is a sign of active citizenship. Second, tolerance matters. A strong nation is not one where everyone agrees, but one where people can disagree without fear. Third, accountability matters. Allegations, whether against politicians or citizens, must be handled transparently and fairly through the law. As the country moves forward, the focus should not only be on whether the amendment passes, but whether the process strengthens or weakens democratic institutions. Because in the end, a constitution is not just about power, it's about trust. Trust between the government and the people, trust in institutions, and trust that every voice, no matter how small, has a place in shaping